I have said it before, but I will say it again. The first and primary relationship is always with self. And so many of us do not have a secure relationship with ourselves. We don't know ourselves very well. We don't listen to ourselves. We don't slow down, check in with ourselves, with our bodies. We're not really in our bodies because we're floating heads. We're all up in our mental energy all the time, walking around, totally disconnected from our physical bodies. A lot of that's because of trauma for people, but also just because, it's like we just live in the mental space and we never really learned how to ground down into our bodies. And so we have to be able to cultivate a relationship with self. And it really all starts with the way that we do relate to ourselves. So if you think about that internal critic that we all have, usually it is a reminiscent tone of a parent or caregiver from childhood that we kind of internalized. But we have to begin to change the way that we talk to ourselves or relate to ourselves from a critical or a judgmental stance and shift it into a stance or coming from a place of curiosity and kindness. Because we have to be able to cultivate the skill set of self-awareness. And that's a practice because it's being able to be aware of yourself moment to moment or in any given moment, but specifically when we're feeling activated or triggered, so that we can create that space or that pause so that we're not reactive, but we can be more responsive. And so when we're able to do that and to be able to slow down enough, and when things happen or, we have an emotion or we have a thought or something really big comes up for us, if we're able to see it and meet it with kindness and curiosity, like, oh, interesting, what's happening here? Kind of from a perspective of an explorer, somebody who's just neutral and curious, versus the judgmental and critical stance that we normally take with ourselves. That allows everything within us to soften, and it really can shift. That one thing can shift so much because we learn instead to be our own best ally, where we're very curious about what's happening. We want to know, and we're not judging ourselves for anything because we look at it as feedback. It's data. It's giving us feedback about where we're still wounded or stuck, or where we still need to, place focus and be able to work with whatever energies within us, or whatever patterns are coming up, or whatever kind of like self-sabotage is playing out, or just even old identity patterns, old thought patterns, old belief patterns that don't serve us. That's Mittens. It's twilight. He loves this time of day. Anyways, so cultivating a secure relationship to self is where you must begin. And everyone that I work with, or a lot of people that are kind of come into my sphere, it's like they're usually bringing relationship problems, that they want to work on, with other people, like in relationship with others. And I'm always talking about, before we can work on how we relate to others, we have to learn to better relate to ourselves. So let this be your sign. Now is the time. Now is the time. Working on, like I said, really getting to know yourself on a deep and intimate level. Becoming aware of yourself, getting curious, being kind with whatever you find. And then once we're aware of what's happening, then and only then can we begin to shift it. Take good care, my friends. Happy new moon.